I taught myself a lot of repair stuff through the years because I wanted to learn everything, so I'd buy guitars, fix them. I had to teach myself how to do stuff, but the neck is where everything happens. That's it. If you can fret it, level it, and make it play good, you can build a guitar.
Hey everybody, it's Paul. We're here to talk about necks today. Neck making, in my mind, is fundamental to guitar making. You're a guitar maker, you're a neck maker. There's nothing more important on the guitar. I mean, you could argue that the pickups are the most important thing or the weight of it's the most important thing, but in the end, when you're holding the guitar, how it feels, how you change the length of the strings, how it resonates. I mean, there's this sound that the neck makes as a raw blank that makes a big difference. You have the body of the guitar, and then you have this marimba tine sticking out, and it's A-weighted. It has tuning pegs at one end. There's more frets at one end than the other. It's not evenly weighted like a tuning fork is. So the strength of the neck has a huge impact on how it rings, how it resonates. One of the things that are important from the rules of tone is not putting the neck under a huge amount of tension unless it's from the strings. So let me just give you a way to think about it. If you have a bell, you have a big bell, and you hit it with a hammer, it goes dong, and it rings. If I drill a hole in it, and put a piece of all thread through it, and start to tighten down the nuts on each side, it's going to go, and eventually it's not going to go dong anymore, it's going to go boom. And to me, when you have to tighten the truss rod too much, it adds that kind of lack of sustained load mid-range to the instrument. The truss rod's there as a safety, and I mean, if you're going to put really heavy gauge strings on it and tune it up, you're going to need a truss rod. That's just the way it is. But the more guitars we make for artists, the more we learn that the stronger the neck is, the better the guitar sounds. There's also history that I've studied of how the necks were made in the old factories in the 50s and before that and after that, and what things they changed on what day that had what impact on the feel of the instrument. That's all very, very important. So we are going to talk about necks. Now, to that end, the manager in our building who is in charge of neck making is Dan Davis, and he's here today. And Dan, you come up. So this is Dan Davis. You've been here a long time. How long have you been here?
21 years.
What, you started here when you were 12?
Yeah, 21.
Yeah, there you go. I know that we gave you the Managing General Partner Award for doing something remarkable that I couldn't do. And so what specifically did we give you that award for?
So we needed to refret a guitar, and it needed to be shipped out to an artist as soon as possible. And we got it done within an hour. It's back in there, ready to go. So
I might get this right. You took the frets out, you leveled the fingerboard, you refretted it, glued all the frets in, got it leveled, got all the round over done right, got all the edges done right, and you did the whole thing in 1 hour, and it made it to Federal Express that day.
Yeah.
I think that's worthy of an award. I couldn't do that in an hour. Would have taken me all day.
I taught myself a lot of repair stuff through the years because I wanted to learn everything, so I'd buy guitars, fix them. I had to teach myself how to do stuff, but the neck is where everything happens. That's it. If you can fret it, level it, and make it play good, you can build a guitar.
So how many people do you have working for you?
I have 26.
And that's a lot of processes. I mean, what's the thing that they struggle with the most? What is the thing that there's on their mind the most? Because they're doing so many different jobs.
It's all the details. So, a lot of highly focused attention to detail, getting the scratches out and making sure everything's rounded to spec. It takes a lot of time and training. And our trainers work really hard and do a lot to get people up to speed and keep the quality and consistency from neck to neck. It's a long process to get somebody up to speed and keep the quality tight.
I have always felt like the neck on the guitar should feel like an old railing in a house where there was nothing sharp and you could slide your hand down the rail the whole way and it wouldn't cut you. And that whole roundover process that you're doing, how long does it take you to train somebody to do that so the neck feels natural in their hands when they're done?
It takes months and a lot of necks, and they don't come in with the feel. If they're a guitar player, they've felt some necks. If you have somebody with no experience, it takes a lot to develop that sense of feel and touch and be able to work the wood, and it's just a lot of back and forth, one-on-one. And a lot of that training came from me and my time. I've developed these trainers and built a team that's really good. So I feel like we've got the best necks we've ever had
I think that's
because
true.
of that time that I spent coming up through the ranks and investing in these guitars.
You know, I used to go down and check all the necks before they would go into finish on guitars that were for the artists. I don't even do that anymore. You guys have got such a good handle on it. One of the things that Dan and I do is we get our hands on old instruments, old Gibsons and old Fenders, and I'll bring them down for you to repair them as a way to learn of what it was like. I mean, until you work on one of those necks, you don't really understand what those factories were like in the 50s.
Right.
But you get you've gotten a good feel for what that's like at the old Fender and Gibson factory, right?
And I wouldn't have that experience anywhere. They don't let you play that stuff in a store. You know, they're expensive. So to have that education it's great. Like, and that you share that with the floor, and I'll show my team, like, because they've never seen it or felt it. You know, it's an awesome experience.
Oh, that's cool. So Dan, why don't we go through the process slowly, okay? First, you have a neck blank of ringy wood that is dried to a point that when you open it up, it doesn't warp, right?
Right.
Second, on S2, we'll scarf a headstock on. And the thing rings really well. Different kinds of neck wood. This would be a rosewood blank. Then you have to install the truss rod, right? And once again, there are drying steps all the way along. And then you've got a truss rod installed, and there are pins to make sure that when you glue the fretboard on, that it's glued on in the right place. It's in exact position that it needs to be. On S2s, we have a fretboard like this one, and on core, you're going to be fretting it after you've leveled it, right? So this hasn't been carved yet. You'll carve it, then you'll level it, then you'll fret it, right?
Right.
Then there's all this roundover work. Now, I'm convinced that in the 50s, they called this a thumb roundover. It was a natural part. I mean, your hand isn't square and it doesn't have sharp edges on it. You don't really want it to be sharp. And you guys spend a lot of time not just getting this roundover right, but you're also getting the edge right. And you were talking earlier about all the training that's involved in doing that.
A lot in that edge alone is a lot of training.
Well, there's a drawing of it, but that doesn't equate to being able to do it instantly, right?
No. Yeah.
And the maple fingerboards are even harder because they have to be finished and you don't get to work on it after it's been assembled, right?
Right.
And how long does it take once you have a fingerboard ready to be fretted? How long does it take for you to level the fingerboard and make sure it's perfect? I know that you're sitting there with these ground straight edges in light and looking for any little amount that it's not straight. So how long does that take?
Just to level the fretboard, it can take about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes for someone who's up to speed. And then the fretting process is a few minutes. But they spend a lot of time making sure that thing's got the consistent radius and it's dead level. That's the foundation for your fretwork. So when they fret it, we just top off the frets, and they don't have to have frets that are different heights from having an unlevel surface underneath. And that's how you get your action down really low and not have any buzzing or fretting out.
There's a radius, but when you say it's dead level in this direction, not in this direction, right?
Right.
So how many steps are there? Is what, 20 steps about in making the neck, something like that?
Yeah, it's a lot.
And you have one person assigned to each area, or I think of half of the people are just sanding the necks when you do it, and you've got One
Right.
person leveling, one person fretting, one person clipping the frets, one person gluing the fretboards on, somebody else on the CNC carving it. It's pretty much a one person per step. Is that basically how it works?
Yeah, the people leveling fretboards will fret it, get it ready for the veneer, level the headstock. But yeah, it's pretty much down the line. One person has a job, and each job becomes an art form. You're doing it over and over again. You know, a lot of people come in from guitar schools, and somebody showed them how to do a process and build a guitar, but they don't teach you quality. You don't learn that until you do it hundreds of times, thousands of times. It was fun for me. It was relaxing, and I challenged myself, see how good I could get it and how fast I could get it. It was a fun job sanding necks.
You enjoyed it.
I did. I've been on the neck team my whole time, and there was never another team I was interested in. Like, private stock was tempting, but I liked being in being in production because you have to have good people. These are the guitars that are out there making music, and I was thinking about how many songs are going to be played on these things.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool to be a part of that for so long.
So, what's the number one hardest skill job of all these things I've described in your area?
Honestly, it's training. I don't think the jobs are hard. It takes time to learn them, but the trainers are the ones down there keeping things going and fixing problems and making sure people are staying and following the process. And that's the hardest part of our job. Is
Maybe we should have one of the trainers here.
we should. I mean, I have two, and they're doing great. And it's nice I can have one for newer people and one for people that are more advanced to make sure that they're handling their issues and getting better, because it takes time to get your numbers and quality. Like, it's a process. You don't just come in and after a week have everything down. It's back and forth with quality control, getting retrained, and we have a very tight tolerance on specs and shape, and it's not a lot of room for error.
Well, you guys are making, what, about 110 necks a day, something like that?
Yep.
So, Dan, when the neck's all ready to go, where's it go from you?
It'll go over to the body team where it'll get matched up to the specific body it was made for, and then they'll set the neck and glue it in the body, and they have specific angles they have to meet depending on the bridge.
So you hand your babies off to Max, and then he has to glue them in, and you don't have any part of it after that.
No, yeah.
But you had something to do with training Max, didn't you?
I did, yeah. He came up right behind me, and I could tell a story about Max if you want.
So I want to go.
So S2 used to be a separate team, and then they were absorbed into production.
Right.
And I was handling all the core necks. I was the trainer, quality control. And Max came over, and he was just sanding bolt-ons, which maple's harder wood. It takes more effort to sand. And Max is standing there with a big smile on his face, and he's sanding like 15 of these bolt-ons a day, which is hard to do. And you're just drenched in sweat. And I was like, what are you doing here? You know, you went to college, like, what happened? He's like, it wasn't for me. I'm gonna give this a couple years, see if it goes anywhere. And I was like, you just got this big smile on your face. Keep it up, man. Like, his attitude was just there from the beginning. Like, did it with a smile on his face.
Except now he's a really good manager, and he is beloved by his team.
Yep.
And when I imitate him, all I do is I have to put a big smile on my face, and everybody knows it's Max, right?
Yeah, he's a great guy and a good part of the management team.
So one of the things that I really like is that we have two guitar makers, well, actually three with Veronica, running the entire wood shop. And well, she's been doing it forever, right?
Yeah.
So there's such a depth of experience between what's going on the body team and the neck team that a lot of the conversations are actually pretty sophisticated. And I love it that there's that depth of experience. But you guys are, in a way, you act like partners every time you're near each other.
Oh,
right?
yeah. We're in. I'm pushing what he needs and priorities, and he's coming over if he needs something in a pinch. He's working with my team. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like same thing with Veronica. Like, we're handing stuff off to the next team, so you got to communicate across the lines. And like, if there's a problem, we're all working together to solve it.
Yeah.
You know, try to catch stuff as soon as it happens. Because stuff happens. It's just natural. Like, machines don't see and feel. We have to check specs to make sure they're staying in tolerance. So that's the whole factory. We're all quality control.
So Dan, I want to talk about truss rods for a minute. Okay, I know that in your area, your goal is to have the neck be dead straight with no tension on the rod one way or the other. It's only a safety in case somebody put heavy gauge strings on or something like that, right? But we use what's called a double action rod. And the way it works, as you know, you twist the rod one way and the nuts go apart because there's opposite threads. And you twist it the other way and the nuts go together. So in a way, as you know, the rod is very, very, very close to the back of the neck, and the strings are putting tension on the fretboard, and the rod then puts an opposite tension on the back of the neck. The thing that I've never spoken to you about really are all the other ways that we could have done it.
Right.
On a single action rod, only if the neck is bowed this way does it work. If it's bowed backwards, you can't fix it. So we immediately started to go to double action rods. Some truss rods and guitars, they take two steel rods and they put it in, and when you shorten one of the rods, both of them bend together. So that's not putting the tension on the neck, it literally is bending the rod with another rod be shorter or longer, right? And I thought that was putting a little too much metal in the neck. The other problem was that when you do it this way, the whole rod has to rotate in the neck, and so as you know, there's an incredibly thin coat of wax on this to lubricate it so that when it will turn, you know?
Right.
If a little bit of glue gets on the neck from when you put the truss rod insert in, which holds it in place, you need it lubricated so that it's not held in place, right?
Right.
You guys spend a lot of time making sure that you're not using the truss rod. It's only a safety in case, you know, somebody puts heavy gauge strings on it. What do you think about this whole way of doing it? You think we've made a good decision?
Yeah, I think it's working. It works great, and they're very, very sensitive. So like a little adjustment and the neck reacts, so you don't have to put too much tension on it.
So can I talk about that?
Yeah.
We're putting 40 threads per inch on this side and 40 threads per inch on this side. The problem is when you're moving the rod, both of them are moving. Right. So it's like literally you have to move the rod half as much as you would on a single action rod.
Right. You can see with a straight edge just a little movement, and you can see the board move right away.
Yeah. I get a lot of comments from the techs of how easy it is to adjust our truss rod. Yeah. And there are some techs that are barely touching it every single day, depending on what the humidity of the gig is, which I don't do. But in general, I think it works really well.
Hey, Paul, I've got a question.
Yeah.
Why do we use the fret material that we do?
I didn't want the guitars to be refretted a lot. You know, very often that when the frets wear down, they get refretted. And the high E string especially is almost as hard as a file. You know, it's actually a pretty hard piece of steel once it's been worked to be that small. And so we use a much harder piece of fret wire, not in terms of the materials, but it's annealed pretty hard so that you don't need the guitars to be refretted. Now that makes it harder for you when you're fretting them because it's a little harder to bend.
Right.
I mean, it's not real soft stuff, right? And I'm noticing you have this hydraulic clipper. I mean, it's actually pretty strong to cut the pieces off, but we use this. I know it's 18% nickel silver. By the way, there's no silver in this stuff. Otherwise, people take the frets out and selling it. It's annealed pretty hard. It actually has a spec on it about how hard it is that we want to get it. And it was all done so that guitars wouldn't need a lot of refrets. Is it too hard to use?
I mean, it's not like stainless steel. That's a pain. It wears our
Why is
stuff
that
out.
difficult?
So we put a bevel on the side here for a specific angle on the frets. We do it on a belt sander, and it will wear that out after a few necks.
Because the stainless steel is so hard.
Yeah, it will knock the grit off any sandpaper you try to work with it. So you have to use a file. It's just a lot more time consuming to get it to work.
Well, I actually like stainless steel frets. The problem for me is that they don't want to bend. If the fretboard is any different than the radius on the bottom of the fret wire doesn't want to bend into position. It's not very malleable. It's incredibly hard
strong,
stuff.
Yeah.
So how many different CNC neck carve programs are part of your world?
We've got 13 different carves, and some are specific to artist models, and you've got the pattern, the thin. vintage, regular. And you got the Grissom, Santana,
Fiore, Mare.
Silver Sky has 2 different carbs, Miles Kennedy, and the NF53. I think that's all of them.
I actually really like the carb that I'm using on the guitar I'm playing, which is just our straight pattern carb. An amalgamation between the old Tellys and old Les Pauls and things I used to make in the old shop, and it's just kind of I took the best pieces of all of them and stuck them in. And what percentage of that carb is your production?
That's pretty popular. It's on all the 22s, the hollow bodies, McCarty. That's a good neck shape. Yeah, it's not too big, not too small.
Yeah. And there was a period of time we were selling so many wide thins, that was like number one.
Oh, we do a lot of wide thins, yeah.
So, look, in the end, your team's doing a great job, because the feedback about how the neck feels to the customers has just been so positive in the last year. It's just been great. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Paul.
But you're going worldwide. Is this the first video?
This is my first video.
Yeah, you did good.
Yeah.
You did real good.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul.
All right. I'm really pleased that you got to hear Dan's viewpoint from the floor of the factory, because it's not just us talking to you, but there's really a belief and a care in these instruments that Dan was able to let you know about. I'm in his area talking to him every day, a couple times a day. I mean, there's a piece of feedback that he's teaching me and I'm teaching him that's going back and forth. And I'm really glad you got to hear from not just me and our marketing team about the guitars, but from one of the main people on the floor that I trust with the guitar making. So look, we went over neck making today. We started from the wood all the way through the guitar and handing it off. And I believe the neck is a fundamental part of making a magic guitar. And I'm glad we were able to do this video today. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye.